Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talking about the team of the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. All right, everybody. We are here. We are, I don't know, what, 5 days into free agency, 6 days, I guess. A week until a week, 7 days since we were able to do that legal tampering period. I guess they call it the early negotiation period now. And, I wanted to get a little update on what's going on with the Raiders, what's going on with our free agency, give a couple of thoughts on some players that I'm interested in. Also talk a little bit about Geno, but before we do, we'll make sure everyone please like, comment, subscribe to this channel. It's a great way to support the channel. I would definitely appreciate it. And it's absolutely free. We will have some memberships coming up soon. And those memberships are going to have some nice little perks. I don't want to open memberships until I can offer something of substance other than early access to videos. I think that's kind of lame. I want to give you guys more stuff if you guys are paying your money to be a member. Yeah, and it's the best way to support this channel is to subscribe, like, and comment on these videos, and watch some of the other videos too if you'd like. And ultimately, it's the bare minimum you can do to support this channel. Other than doing absolutely nothing and just watching. But yeah, either way, it's good. South Dakota Raider, man, what's going on, dude? Said, what's going on, dude? Dominique 5, yo. Lauren Velasco, 7 p.m., huh? What's up, Kevin? How's it going over in Oregon? How's my boy Billy Jack Haynes doing up there? Is he still alive? Is he still up in custody or something? I don't know about you guys, but I'm like a pro wrestling fan, right? I like pro wrestling. Not really the sports entertainment that they have today, but like pro wrestling, back when I was a little kid. I like watching Dark Side of the Ring. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's all the stories that we didn't get when we were that young, and now we're able to get them. It's pretty good. I guess they're gonna have a story on Billy Jack Haynes or Billy Jack Hayes, I think, up from Oregon. But so we're in free agency, and it's kind of that in between time because the draft is a little bit more than a month away. Okay, and we're just kind of sitting pretty. I think it starts on the 24th. It's a Thursday. That's the first round. Second and third round. Oh no, yeah. Second and third round is Friday, and then Saturday is the full day. One thing that I want to take a look at here is what's going on with the cap situation currently, and what is going on with the draft. Not too much in the draft right now. It's going to be a later show, but just some areas of concern that I have, and just some things that I was doing some research, and some things that popped up that were a little bit of a cause for concern for me. So, Alec, that's a great question. No, not yet. I'm not concerned about this, realistically. Now, the cap situation is a little funky. There is your actual cap, and then there's your usable cap, and I'll explain. Actual cap, we have just under $40 million in cap. We have 30, I believe it's 39.9 million, but that's like total cap. You're only your top 51 highest contracts versus the cap. Your top 51 cap hits count against the cap. So in essence, we could have a little bit more than that, but I would have to like really dig into it a little bit further, and it's a lot of math, and I just didn't feel like doing it, to be honest with you. Just being honest with you, I didn't feel like doing it. So Geno does not have a new deal yet, okay? But I'm not concerned, and I'll explain why. With the cap that we have currently, Geno is owed a $16 million roster bonus in his current contract. I don't know that that's going to be fully executed. I think we're going to rework his deal to allow maybe a little bit more of a even spread of this cap hit along the way. Maybe kind of spread out roster bonuses and things like that. Just ways to kind of finagle and flip these things around in order to be able to give us a little bit more flexibility. You need to have about 10 million bucks or so ish around there, about 10 million to sign all your draft picks and all your undrafted free agents. One thing that I have said in a previous video that I just want to echo right now is Geno Smith is with the Raiders now because Pete Carroll trusts him. Geno Smith also trusts Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was the last guy, and really the only guy, to be honest with you, who really gave Geno a chance to start after his first couple years at in the league. So I think that the trust is there for both guys, and it goes both ways. There's two ways of doing this. There's the way the Bills did it. The Bills just got Josh Allen out of the way up front and said, okay, let's get him done so we know what we have to work with. Okay, fine. And I'm not saying that the Bills and Josh Allen don't have a mutual trust, but that's that way of doing it. The way the Raiders are doing things now is, okay, let's get everything we can done now to fortify this team so we know what to work with on how to work a deal with Geno after the fact. That's where I think we're headed. I don't see us not having a deal in place with Geno Smith at the draft. I see us having it done before then, but there's really no urgency right now to get it done simply because I think both sides know it's going to happen. And I just want to see, that roster bonus kick in. I want to see how they're going to deal with that. So as that nears, it's interesting to see. It is a little bit of an accelerator, the roster bonus hitting, because that roster bonus hits now, that's already done. You can't kind of like go back and say, well, we're going to give you a little bit of a bonus because we already gave you this bonus. That's a previous contract. Okay. You can't double dip. You already gave him the money. That's his money. It has nothing to do with any type of agreement or negotiation going forward. That's an execution of an old contract. So it would behoove for the Raiders to be able to get this done a little bit sooner before that 16 mil hits, if that makes sense. Okay. Let's see what we got going on in the little chat here. DeMarcus Webb, what's up, man? What's good, Soto? I couldn't agree with you more. I'm afraid to pick up, especially Landon Roberts. Reminds me of more athletic Perriman. Yeah. Chris Francis. Carroll pulled Geno for a reason. It will get done. Yeah, I agree. It will get done. I have no issues here. I have no issues. No problems. Okay. We're going to get to a few things here, guys. So just let you know, super chats are open. The chat is open. I really like the chat. I really like you guys being active in the chat because I really want you guys to kind of have a little bit of a community here. Because after all, this is Raiders against the world, okay? So if we can't, communicate with each other in this chat, then where can we, right? I'm not going to give anyone my phone number. Oh, Raider Vic, you know how to get to my heart. The beards look sick. Bro, last night. So I had some fights last night. I had a couple guys fight last night. Actually, two gentlemen and a lady fight last night at a local casino here. And I don't know if anyone's familiar with the fight game. It's pretty boring. It's really pretty boring. And the bigger the promotion, the more boring it is. The exciting part is going into the fight and like actually the fight. Everything else is super boring. It's just kind of checking in and sitting down and like waiting. And then like if it's a huge promotion, you can't leave. Like you're checked in and you got to stay right where you are. You have to have someone from the athletic commission walk you to the bathroom and stuff. It's just a whole headache. It wasn't very fun. But yeah, I got a lot of compliments on the beard yesterday as well. Because I've always had a beard. For a while, it was just kind of like a little bit of a stubble. Then I could kind of grow it a little bit more. And I said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go all the way. Why not? Why the heck not? So speaking about a beard, there's another person that has a beard that may be a good fit for your Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, first off, I want to talk about this. PFF, and I'm not a PFF like junkie, okay, but it's a reference point, right? It's a reference point to look at, and it's a piece of information. It's not generally like all of the information, okay? We've been given a B so far in grades as far as free agency. The reason that I believe we've been given a B is because we've lost a lot of starting level talent. Chason started, Spillane started, Hobbs, Epps started, Merrick started. Like all those guys are starters, and we're bringing in guys that aren't necessarily haven't been starters the whole entire time. The only one that has really been a solid starter all the way through has been Jeremy Chin. Everyone else, they're, especially last season, really weren't starting players. So I understand, even though there's a lot of, a lot of Pete Carroll fingerprints on a lot of these signings, as far as measurables go, and heart and hungry players and guys that are willing to work together and learn. All that stuff is great, but yeah, there's measurables and talent, and then there's production, right? And I don't know that necessarily the production has matched coming in as that we had production going out. Now, this is the NFL, and these guys are supreme athletes. So if you're out there and playing, you're going to get stats, unless you're Tyree Wilson. But you see some of these guys that we have coming in, and they really haven't filled the stat sheets up, I should say, especially last season. Maybe Landon Roberts has done a really good job throughout his career. Last year maybe was a little bit of an anomaly, I guess. He really wasn't out there in passing downs. So the B grade so far, I don't think is unfair. Now, does that necessarily mean that we got worse because of the players that are leaving as opposed to the players that are coming in? Not at all. I'm not saying that whatsoever. Because the players that are coming in theoretically would fit what this defense and this coaching staff wants to get done better than the players who left. Something to think about. Because it's not all about, okay, this is not like an all-star team where you just get all the best players. Ha 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 ha! I got the best players. It doesn't always work that way. Constructing a team is more than just constructing an all-star, of a group of all-stars. You have to get players that fit the roles that you want them to play. And if they can do a little bit more, be a little more versatile, all the better, right? So I wouldn't be so concerned about what's going on as far as a grade for the preseason, because who wants to win the off season, right? You want to win in season, and it's all about how that team performs on the field when the clock starts in between those lines. So that's going to be the big test. Okay, for right now, I think we're doing a good job of putting players that Pete Carroll likes, that have traits that Pete Carroll needs for his defense to be successful. And we're putting them in good positions, and we're giving them a realistic opportunity to play, And that's one of the things that you're going to see with Pete Carroll moving forward is his players really do respond to him, because his word is like gold. He gives you his word that he's going to give you every opportunity to do X, Y, and Z. You're going to get every opportunity to do so. It's always a good thing. So moving on for the PFF grade, let's move on to a topic that I think that we all, have been thinking about, is wide receiver free agent fits. Now, I got a couple of players here. I talked about one already. I want to talk about a new one right now. I think by the thumbnail, you may have already guessed who it is. Some of you, Columbo sleuths out there. I'm very concerned about this wide receiving core that we have right now. And again, stats and rankings, it's not the end all be all, okay? But when it's really pushed one way or the other on the extreme, then you have to take notice, right? For example, a couple years ago at the tail end of the 2023 season, when AP took over the last 9 games, that defense was humming, right? They were number one in points allowed. They were number one in turnovers. They were number one in defensive turnovers. Like, they were doing a really good job on defense, and they were number one in a lot of stats. So are stats the most important thing as far as these peripheral stats? Not necessarily, but when they're very extreme one way or the other, yeah, you have to take a look at it. I'm going to talk about Trey Tucker for a second, because ESPN Advanced Stats had these stats pulled up about ranking wide receivers. And overall, in these three categories, Trey Tucker ranked absolutely dead last in these categories, which was a surprise for me. And now there's a couple of things that we can do to explain this away, but when you're dead last at something, it's not a good thing. It's not a good sign. Let's get into it first, and we'll go ahead and get a little bit of context. Okay, context is king. So let's look at what we're actually looking at as far as stat wise, and then let's go into the context. Okay, so the three areas that are being judged are getting open, like how often does the receiver get open per route run, catches per route run, and also yards after catch. I think this is pretty good. It's like, how often are you showing yourself available to get the ball by getting open? How often are you catching the ball per how often are you out in the route? And how many yards are you getting after you catch the ball? I like it. I think it's pretty cool. 116 receivers were eligible. Scale is 1 to 100. Okay, just in case you didn't know. Trey Tucker was the third worst at getting open. Now, I understand that he didn't run a very robust route tree. And that could be by design. It could be just Luke Getsy early, and then, the law office of Turner and Turner just setting him out deep as a decoy a bunch of times. I get that. I understand. But Trey Tucker is not the only receiver in the league that does that. You're still ranking dead last in something overall. Third worst is still pretty bad. He ranked 23rd to the bottom, so it's not on the good side, in catch rate per route. So he's not catching a lot of balls per amount of snaps that he's taken. Again, it could be because he's being decoyed a lot. I get that. I understand. But you have to take a look at overall being dead last. It's still not good. And he was 33rd worst in yards after catch. This screams a lot to over-the-top safety help, to where he's not allowed to get the ball in space. It also points to a lot of just lack of creativity offensively, and the fact that he was used primarily as a decoy. Again, it's not unique in the NFL. Like, Trey Tucker is not like a unique snowflake when it comes to being a decoy in an offense. So to be ranked absolutely dead last in something is still pretty bad, even if you are a decoy. So we need to have an upgrade there. We got to be honest with ourselves, okay? It does us no good to lie to ourselves, all right? Our receiving core needs serious help. As much as I love Jakobi Meyers, and I really did love that move, even when we first brought him over, I thought it was a really good move. I don't know that he's a number one receiver. I don't know that you can line him out on his own at an X and say, okay, get open in front of their best guy. Consistently, I don't know. He's been shown to be able to get open when you move him around, and he's done a great job for us. And I'm not complaining about Jakobi Meyers whatsoever. I just don't think he's a true number one receiver. We need one. There's not a bevy of number one receivers in this draft class, and where we're drafting now, it would probably be pretty early at 6 to get one. And when we draft again, I think at 36 or something like that, 37, 38, around there, I think it may be a little bit late to get one of the the top guys there. So we're kind of in a funky position where those receivers are going to go in between our two picks. Even one pick, our first round pick is a little too high, and the second round pick is a little bit too late. So what do? That's what we have for agency. That's what we have salary cap, right? Now, Cooper Kupp signed with the Seahawks. And although I think he was paid, quite handsomely, I think, for who he is currently and his availability, it's a signing that's going to have a ripple effect throughout the NFL. Because now that a big dog got paid, right? A big dog like a Cooper Kupp, got like a veteran guy, Super Bowl MVP, guy was, a finalist for Offensive Player of the Year, stuff like that. This kind of guy, right? Well, now there's a gauge off. Okay, if this is what he's getting, and I'm this percentage of him, then I should get this much. So it's really important that first domino fell, because now you're going to see a lot of these. You didn't see a lot of these guys getting picked up at free agency. You saw some guys getting traded, like DK Metcalf. He got traded to the Steelers, and then they were able to negotiate as an extension, or not a full on brand new contract. So it's a little bit different when the thing like that happened with like DK Metcalf. When it happened to Cooper Kupp, he was out on the street for anyone to pick up, anyone where he wanted to go, let's say. So that free agent contract that he got with the Seahawks is going to make a ripple effect throughout the veteran wide receivers that are free agents currently in the NFL. One of them was pretty interesting. And we'll talk about Keenan Allen in a little bit. We're going to talk about currently is Elijah Moore. So I like Elijah Moore a lot. And a couple of things that really kind of tip the scales in his favor when it comes to free agent acquisition at wide receiver position for the Raiders is, one of them is his age, his youth. He's 24 years old. He'll be 25 when the season starts. He actually turns in a week or so, or in a couple of days, he turns 25. So he's still very young for having all that time in the league already. It's a chance to kind of plug a player into a system and know he's going to be there for the long haul, and kind of get him used to how you want him to play, and get used to him as a player that's going to be around for a while. Some of these free agents that are a little bit older, you don't know how long they're going to stick around. You don't know how long they're going to be able to be viable in your offense, and how long their skills are going to last. You would think at 25 years old, you have at least 4 years of primo, explosion off the line type of guy, right? So that's a big positive. Another one is his performance potential. It's potential for performance. Now, he didn't light the world on fire with the Jets or with Cleveland, but I mean, let's just be honest, okay? Who has lit the world on fire with the Jets and or with Cleveland, let alone back-to-back the Jets and Cleveland? So I'm not going to kill him on that. I think the tools are there. I think that he was, and he still is, a very dynamic player with the ball in his hands. I just think he was plugged into a system where they wanted Elijah Moore to play too traditional of a wide receiver role. That's not a slight on Elijah Moore whatsoever, because he was still able to perform well in that role last season with that just collection of freaking stiffs that they had with Cleveland. He still had 61 catches and almost 900 yards. So he's not terrible. He can do what you ask him to do in a traditional sense, but that's not where his strengths lie. You need to get him moving. You need to get him going side to side to be able to exploit the defense. You need to be able to get him out in space so he can go ahead and make 1-2 guys miss, get an angle on the third, and be gone. That's where you're going to see the benefits of an Elijah Moore. Can he go up for 50-50 balls? Can he beat guys off the line? Can he beat guys at the top of his routes? Yes, he can do that, but he performs better in space. And as a coaching staff, as a coach, you want to be able to put your players in positions to succeed where they're at their best. Makes sense, right? I think it does. So also, when you take a look at a player like Elijah Moore, you have to take a look at the role fit. Because, I mean, if he's going to be like a third target, right, or a fourth target, let's just say, he's going to be. I mean, he's going to be going up against a lot of nickel corners, a lot of guys that are sub package corners only, not really starting caliber. He's going to eat those guys alive because Brock Bowers is probably going to be he is going to be the first target. Jacoby Myers probably be the second, depending on who's also out there, whether it's Trey Tucker or whoever. Elijah Moore could be a 3 or a 4 target. Either way, he's going to be able to really cook those corners because they're not, outside, starting caliber on any team corners. As far as his skill set, he's not the tallest guy. He's not the biggest guy, but he ran a 4.35. He's super fast. On top of that, he's quick and fast. So he doesn't lose a lot of speed when he makes lateral cuts. He's able to get back up to speed. His acceleration is excellent. He's got good hands. He has the ability to be a dynamic player, but you have to put him in those situations. He's not going to make those situations happen on his own generally. All right. So he is pretty scheme dependent on how well he does and how dynamic of a player he is for you. Under Chip Kelly, he could be moved around a lot. So Elijah Moore could just create mismatches by motion, by misdirection and things like that. Just get the ball in his hands somehow, some way. He's a little bit different than a Trey Tucker. A Trey Tucker is, I don't want to say he's more of a straight line guy, but he doesn't have quite the wiggle, I think, that Elijah Moore does. But they're both super. I think they're both 4.35 guys. I think they run the same. I think, unless Trey Tucker is a little bit faster. But the more dynamic targets you can get on this offense, the better. Because when you see a Chip Kelly offense run, you get a lot of misdirection, you get a lot of screens. You want to have a lot of guys that are good with the ball in their hands. So when you get these guys, if you have a Trey Tucker on one side and Elijah Moore on the other, and you're running like a double screen with one's a decoy, like you're going to be able to fool that defense because you're like, dude, both of these guys are equally as likely to catch this screen pass and take it to the house. So that scheme fit is really good for what Chip Kelly wants to do. As far as it also aligns with what Pete Carroll wants to do and John Spytek wants to do. They want to get these guys coming in here who are young, good measurables, who are hungry. You can't tell me that, and this is no knock on him, but you can't tell me that Elijah Moore, even he himself, feels like he's lived up to that second round of draft position that where he was drafted. I think he feels he can contribute more and he is better than what his stats show. Okay. Give him an opportunity to do so. He is not really an injury risk whatsoever. He really hasn't been injured in his career. It's one of the things with these older receivers, you get a lot of risk of injury just because of the nature of the position. And, age catches up to everyone. So Elijah Moore is my top pick, I would say, for wide receiver, even though he's not a true X number one receiver. I think he can work really well within our system and the way we want to run our system as far as offense goes. All right, let's see what we got going on here. He's only 5'10", yeah. He's only 5'10", but he's good. Hey, man. OG Raider 805. I like Keaton too, but he didn't see the field, dude. It wasn't like, look, and this is one thing, like this is why I was a little bit hesitant to talk about Trey Tucker and how he ranked. Because, Raider Nation, we're super loyal, right? It's Raiders versus the world, okay? And that's the way we feel because that's the way a lot of times it is. But you have to face facts. If Keaton was this super stud, how come he didn't see the field more? You're not telling me that Turner didn't want to keep his job. You're not telling me that AP didn't want to keep his job. You're not telling me that if they felt that Keaton was going to put them in a position to score more points, he wouldn't have been on the field. I get it. He has good measurables. He has the potential, but he didn't really make an impact. And he didn't make an impact for a couple of reasons. He wasn't on the field very often, and even when he was, he didn't make an impact when he was on the field. So I understand that we like a lot of these guys that are on our teams, and everyone wants to be the guy that picks out the diamond in the rough. What's wrong with just picking up a diamond in the best diamond in a pile of diamonds? What's wrong with that? Let's not fall into that trap of diamonds in the rough, because it's a lot harder to do that. Why not Cooper? What's wrong with him? He's gonna want a lot of money, bro. A lot of money. Amari Cooper's been paid a lot of dough, and he wants to be paid like that. He's kind of in that in-between range where he's 30 years old. He's not young, but I don't know that he's super old or anything like that yet. He still has, his skills about him. But what you're taking a look at here is you have to weigh the options of how much you have to pay this dude versus what you're going to get back in return. Not sure. All right. That leads me to my next guy we're going to talk about. Monsieur Keenan Allen. Veteran receivers come with risks. All right. Veteran receivers come with risks. So it's up to the front office to kind of weigh those risks and have a good plan set aside. Prime example. So Dallas Cowboys traded a first-round pick for Amari Cooper, right? And what they did was they talked to a lot of people in Amari Cooper's life at the time, and they got to know Amari Cooper a little bit better. They found out he loves playing chess. So the Dallas Cowboys, before they traded for him, or right when they traded for him, they talked to a bunch of guys on the team. Hey, who likes playing chess? Let's form a chess club and have Amari Cooper join that chess club when he joins the team. That's putting the position to be a little bit more comfortable when they come in, right? Okay, with Keenan Allen, easy for me to say. With Keenan Allen, the issue is soft tissue injuries, and normally it's going to be leg injuries with him. Again, we talked about the Cooper Kupp signing. I don't know that Keenan Allen would command a salary like Cooper Kupp, probably a little bit less. He's a little bit older. He's been a little bit injury prone more often. His last 2 seasons with the Chargers, this last season with the Bears, he was still productive when he was on the field, but that passing offense, just talk about, like, they got rid of Luke Getsy and they brought another bum in there to be the offensive coordinator. It didn't go all that great. It's going to be a little bit different with Ben Johnson, but that's for them to figure out. Keenan Allen's big weapon, his big advantage for the Raiders, and let me know if you've heard this before, is his versatility. He can be completely comfortable lining up outside every single play, or you can move him around. He can get open anywhere. That's his superpower, is just getting open. The issue is when you're a little bit older, and as you get older, your explosion tends to diminish. How much has that diminished for Keenan Allen? Or how much does the explosive nature of his game coming in and out of breaks, what toll has that taken on his body up until now? And how much can his body handle moving forward? These are all very, very excellent questions, which is why I asked them. But I'm concerned about Keenan Allen for this reason. I don't feel like he's going to command a salary like Cooper Kupp, but it's going to be Cooper Kupp-esque, a Cooper Kupp light. And I don't know that we're in a position right now to spend that kind of money on a 32-year-old wide receiver with 3 years in a row of injury history. On top of that, I don't know that he necessarily would want to come here. I think he would want to go at the end of his career, want to go to a place where he feels, he being Keenan, pronouns, pal. Keenan Allen, I believe he would want to go to a team where Keenan Allen feels like he would have a better chance to win. Not saying that we can't win, but this is in the mind of Keenan Allen. We want to get in there for a second. We talked about the scheme fit for Elijah Moore. The scheme fit for Keenan Allen is just as good. Get open on anyone. He can move around the formation in and out, and he's equally as good working in any position. As far as being a dependable target, his hands are like flypaper. Like he's going to be able to catch anything that comes his way, which is good because you want to have that other reliable target for your quarterback. Geno Smith coming in, he wants to be able to have that guy, that safety blanket. Jacoby Myers is really good, really sure-handed. Brock Bowers is outstanding, extremely sure-handed. I'm not saying that Trey Tucker is not, but he hasn't been quite as sure-handed, let's just say. Adding another guy like Keenan Allen with the ability to catch the ball that he has, I think would be a benefit to the quarterback position, regardless who's playing it. It's going to be Geno Smith, and I think it's going to be something that's going to help. Should this happen, it's going to be a situation where they have to start working with each other right away, because I can definitely see Keenan Allen as a safety blanket for Geno Smith. The thing that we have to take a look at here is the Broncos are signing everybody. Everybody who has an injury history, the Broncos are. If you're really good and have an injury history, the Broncos are going to sign you. I wanted Drake Greenlaw for our linebacker. They signed him. I wanted Hufanga for our safety. Freaking Broncos signed him. The Broncos are said to be interested in Keenan Allen as well, for similar reasons. They need a veteran presence at wide receiver. They want to have a guy that can be a safety blanket for their young quarterback. Check mark, check mark. Injury concerns really doesn't concern the Broncos because they're hiring, in the rehab facility. If you have injury history, go ahead and submit your application to the Denver Broncos, because we're probably going to hire you. I'll tell you this right now. Keenan Allen is going to be an upgrade to whoever we had in that spot last season. Hands down. He's still that good. He's just not quite the Keenan Allen that I think we all remember. It's a possibility. It's out there. We'll see if it pans out. We'll see if they go with Elijah Moore. We'll see if the Raiders go with Keenan Allen or someone in that range. There's a couple names that also has been bounced around here. So I believe that in order for this offense to run the way we want it to run, we need to have some professional route runners out there to be able to get open, because it's vital for this offense to be on time. And the more Geno Smith can trust each specific target to be where they're supposed to be at the right time, when they're supposed to be there, the easier that the offense will run, and the more impact the whole misdirection and screen game and stuff like that Chip Kelly brings is going to work. All right. There goes that. Keenan Allen, get off my screen. Does Lockett want too much money, although he's still getting paid by Hawks? Lockett's in a similar situation to Keenan Allen. I don't know that Lockett was ever quite the route runner that Keenan Allen was. He's very good, don't get me wrong, but I think he was going to want a pretty good amount of money. There was a significant drop-off, not only in production, but if you saw him play, he just wasn't able to create that separate. I keep saying he. Lockett wasn't able to create the separation that he had in previous years last season. Was it because of injury? Who knows? But it just wasn't there. And I think that's scaring a lot of teams away, because he was never known as this like technician route running wise. He's a guy that was more of like down the field type of guy. He wasn't really a possession receiver. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. But there's a lot of names out there. Lockett's one of them. There's also Amari Cooper, like someone else had said Amari Cooper as well. But there's a lot of names out there. All right. Okay, here. Super Omnicron. Soto, you want Keenan over Tyler Lockett? I get that. I just think Keenan Allen, so they're both older receivers, right? They're both older and they both are having a diminished skill set, and they're both coming off of injury plagued seasons with an S. I just feel like what we need this player to do, Keenan Allen is a little bit more equipped, better equipped for that. That's just my feeling. If you feel different, that's perfectly fine. You're more than welcome to your opinion. I'm not going to fight anyone on that. First, Middlecoff and that other guy, and now Soto. Soto went single, but hey, it is us against the world. It is us against the world. Okay. I'm concerned, guys. I got to tell you something right now. I'm pretty concerned. And I don't always show my concern as outwardly as I am right now. I am concerned about our offensive line, people. I am concerned. I don't know that we can go into a season with the offensive line that we have currently and just count on drafted rookies to round out the squad. Now we did sign Alex Kappa for a 2-year, $11 million deal. Okay. Now I do feel that Alex Kappa is primed for a bounce back season because he was hovering at a top 20 offensive guard in the NFL. His previous seasons with the Bucks and his first season with the Bengals. Last season he did get hurt. He got a concussion that did affect him throughout the season, where he had to go on the IR twice. It did affect his play. I feel if he's back and healthy from the concussion, I think he'll be more what we saw previous, which was a borderline top 20 guard in the league, as opposed to what we saw last season. Which, if that happens, great, but I don't know, man. I'm a little greedy. I like having really good players on my team. It's weird, right? So we need someone else. I think we need at least one more veteran addition to this offensive line group to kind of let us know what we have. Because if if Alex Kappa beats a couple of rookies, what does that really tell us? Okay, he beat a couple of rookies, like big freaking deal, right? If Alex Kappa beats out a couple of rookies and a couple of vets, all right, looks like we got the right guy, right? Okay, first one we're going to take a look at here. Well, I put it up. I might as well put it up now. Or from offensive line concerns, it's Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins came into the league as a tackle, but he had a little bit of an issue with lateral speed, I would say. I mean, he's not like the only guy who's been a tackle who had a problem with edge rushers. Kicked him into guard, played much better. He's only 27 years old. He's primarily a guard now, so you don't have to worry about him being a tackle or anything like that. Strong player when he's healthy. Issue is, he's not always healthy. He has recurring injuries, inconsistent availability, stuff like that, which is it's tough, man. It's tough to reconcile all that stuff but you have to put all the ingredients into the pot, man, and see what comes out. You can't just pick and choose what you want to take a look at. That's when you get into trouble. But it's going to be kind of an area of concern for teams out there, which can be a reason why Tevin Jenkins could come a little bit cheaper for the talent that he has, because he's very talented. The versatility that he brings, and we talked about him being a tackle before. He's primarily a guard now, but he has the ability to play tackle in a pinch, which is good. You want that, so that he offers that versatility, which is a word that it seems by the signings that Pete Carroll and John Spytek really covet. Water break. and he's a good run blocker. I think the running game for this team is going to be a lot more pronounced. It's definitely what Pete Carroll wants to do, and although there are some more elaborate formations and schemes and things like that, it's definitely what Chip Kelly wants to do is run the ball. Issue we're going to run into is pass protection. Not necessarily at guard, but at tackle more so than guard. Still at guard, he wasn't the greatest. He does need to clean that up a little bit. But when you're getting free agent veterans, off the scrap heap, basically, there are going to be some concerns. You're not going to get a perfect product this late into free agency. Usually, offensive lineman who's like super tits, like does everything well, they don't last into free agency. They always either they get extended or they get swooped up right away for big money early in free agency. So you're going to have to make a little bit of a concession on the players moving forward. One thing that we're looking at here is you got to be really certain with a Tevin Jenkins because he could fool you. He's that talented when he's playing, but you have to be certain that you're going to be able to keep him healthy. If you have any concerns about the ability for you to do everything you can to keep him at his healthiest, then I would just move on. But the talent is definitely there. All right. Next guy we're going to talk about, we talked about him a little bit before. We're talking about a little bit, just overview, is Jedrick Wills. Jedrick Wills from the Cleveland Browns. There have been some issues with Jedrick Wills in the past. There's some rumors out there that he embellished an injury because he didn't want to play, and that he took himself out of a game or took himself out of play. Like, he didn't try his hardest on a play. Look, it wouldn't be the first time a player for Cleveland was disgruntled, okay? And probably won't be the last. But it is a little bit of a cause for concern. It's a concern for me. I don't want a guy to come in and as soon as something gets hard or something doesn't go his way, he starts wavering in his dedication or commitment. That's definitely not what I want. The issue that we're having here is we don't have the type of opportunity to have a Jedrick Wills around us on a day-to-day basis to see if he's willing to push himself past that point, or if mentally he's going to break when those things happen. He's going to revert back to old habits. We don't have that. We don't have that opportunity to do so, which is why probably going to get a lower deal, a 1-year lower prove it type deal to show that he can be something more than what he showed in Cleveland. Ability-wise, excellent. He played right tackle his first and second year with Cleveland. He played almost every single game. He only allowed 1 sack and 16 pressures in 2 seasons. 2. That's excellent. Injuries got a hold of him and things started going downhill. And that's when I think mentally it started to kind of weigh on him a little bit more. Is he past all that? Not only just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. That's going to be the tough part. But Jedrick Wills definitely is someone we should take a look at, bring him in at least to see where he's at. All right. This one, another one that's a little bit of up in the air for me. Again, the guys that are available in this time in free agency, there's going to be a concern one way or another. Is it measurables? Is it attitude? Is it contract? Is it injury history? Well, with Will Hernandez, it's injury history. He had a season-ending injury in 2024 in Week 5. He was playing for the Cardinals. He was doing well up until then, but injured his knee, Week 5, missed the rest of the season. How did that impact his potential landing spot for 2025? Greatly, because he's not super young. I believe he's, 29-ish, something like that. He's going to be 30 soon. I think by the start of the season, maybe a month into the season, he's going to turn 30. So he's not, a spring chicken or anything like that. But you can't deny the ability. When he's healthy and he's on, definitely going to be a very good player for you. The thing that we have to take a look at is, again, similar to the history with players like a Tevin Jenkins, Will Hernandez is very similar in that respect, where he's an excellent player when he's on the field. Is how often are you going to be able to get him on the field? Who knows? The second round pick, man, he has a lot of talent and a lot of ability. He has a super high floor, but that high floor is really there only when he's able to play and be on the field. In a little bit of a twist from a Tevin Jenkins, Will Hernandez is a much better pass protector than a Tevin Jenkins. And they're about the same. Maybe I would say Tevin Jenkins is a better run blocker, but this season-ending injury allows Hernandez some time to recover from that injury. He was a late signing. Excuse me. I see him as a late signing, maybe in like the post draft free agency, where teams can kind of settle and see where they are. It's okay. Well, we can take a flyer on a guy here and there. Let's get a Will Hernandez to come in. Again, there's some injury history concern. Easy for me to say. Injury history concern with Will Hernandez, but just this last season, it looks to be on the comeback trail from his Week 5 injury last season. So another guy that is on the list of potentials for a veteran offensive lineman for your Las Vegas Raiders. All right, we got 2 more to go, and they're going to be good ones. Dalton Reiser from the Vikings last season. Now, Dalton Reiser is 29. He's about right around the same age as Will Hernandez. He was a late signing. Like he didn't sign until September of 2023 for the Vikings. So he signed a 2-year deal. He was with the Broncos early in his career. I think that, so. If you recognize the name, he was with the Broncos. Excels like more in pass protection, not quite the run blocker that we're looking for, but with the scheme that we have with Chip Kelly, it's going to give you a lot of advantages with the misdirection. He's a natural left guard. I think he plays his best at left guard, which from what we understand, that's where Dylan Parham plays the best. So we're maybe looking at Dylan Reiser as a potential, like a swing player who can play back and forth along that interior offensive line. Those are guys that you really need because you want a guy that's going to be able to do multiple things and play multiple positions, because ultimately it's tough going down there. Not very many offensive lines stay fully intact the entire season. So you have to be able to have the ability to run certain guys in and spell other guys either through fatigue or injury, or someone gets banged up in a game or something like that. You're able to bring a guy in who's going to have the ability to run the offense and not have a major drop-off. Okay, next and last, Justin Skule. Justin Skule. Now, he's more of a tackle. All right, he's 28, just turned 28 a little bit ago. He plays both tackle spots. Okay, so he has some flexibility. We need to have some flexibility and some depth in our tackles. Andrews Pete last year was just god-awful. Thayer Munford looked like he really regressed. Thayer Munford, the right tackle position was all his. And, DJ Glaze came in there and said, nope, that's mine. I like Thayer Munford. I like him a lot, but, he has to. Andre James already answered for his season. He was given a new contract, and he went pretty much AWOL for a lot of the year. Didn't play well, so he got cut. Thayer Munford, as a 7th-round pick, has done very well for himself to stay in the league and stay on the same team, but he took a huge step back last year, along with Dylan Parham. You have to answer for that. And they're answering for that right now when they're not firmly a part of the offensive line plans moving forward. Can that change? Of course it can. Of course it can. But they're going to have to work for it, as opposed to them, the team and the executives and the GM thinking, okay, well, we got these guys already set up. They don't feel that way right now. There's a lot of things that need to happen on this offensive line. He's going to be able to run block for you. Skule is. I think that his versatility at tackle, playing both tackle spots, is going to do really well for us. He's a low risk, high reward type of signing because he's not going to command a ton of money to sign. So if you have to cut him and move on, it's not going to be a big deal. But these are the type of guys that we should be going after as the Raiders because we need to have more veteran presence on this line. You cannot go out into your season with a quarterback who's shown to be so much better when he's given time to throw and so much worse when he hasn't been given time to throw, especially in the red zone, and be going in there with rookies who you don't even know who are on the team yet. So you have to sort fortify this line with another veteran. You have to go into a season, you have to go into the draft kind of month with enough guys on your squad to start an offensive line without any rookies starting. Okay, if we don't get anyone that's of starting caliber in this draft for whatever reason, we have a starting lineup of offensive linemen that is this, and these are our swing guys. If you can make that happen, you're in pretty good shape because then you're going to have a good competition of starting caliber line who are veterans and then have these young guys coming in. So if those young guys beat those vets out, you know they're legit and they should be there. All right, guys. That's what I'm going to talk about today, but I want to see what's going on with you guys. Super chats are open, guys. See what's going on here. Alex M. Munford changed to guard or cut him, I think. He is a very big cut possibility, I think, just because he just took a huge step back last season. I don't think he was a non-factor, I believe, for most of, if not all, the season last year. He was supposed to be the starting right tackle. You know, when Illuminor left to go to the Giants, well, Thayer Mumford was playing a lot, and Thayer Mumford was this, Thayer Mumford was that. All right, DJ Glaze comes in and beats him out. So, you know, hey, Mumford was supposed to be the guy. DJ Glaze comes in and takes his job. So at least you know you have something good with DJ Glaze. Same thing now is you want to have these veterans there. So if a rookie comes in and beats him, if a rookie comes in and beats some freaking bum, like who did he beat for the job? So you don't know what you have until you get to your first game and and your quarterback's getting his ass kicked. You don't want that. Edgar Bonilla, what's the update on Geno Smith? Well, he's due a $16 million roster bonus pretty soon. So I think that is going to be a catalyst for a new deal coming up because once you get that, if you're Geno Smith, once you get that roster bonus, you can't really negotiate that roster bonus again. That's yours already. So you're going to have to negotiate a different type of contract moving forward. You're better off negotiating a contract with that roster bonus kind of baked into it. So you won't have to give him anything extra for signing the new contract. What happened to Dalton Wagner, OG Raider 805? He's just not as good. There's a reason why he went undrafted, right? He was an undrafted free agent, UDFA. Normally, you don't see, it happens all the time. It happens every season, but for the most part, you get 250, 260 draft picks. If you're not one of those, you're probably not as good. Dalton Wagner had some issues moving laterally in college. He was huge, which is why he was able to perform the way he did. But when you go against some of these pro NFL defensive linemen and linebackers, it's a different story. He just hasn't progressed as well as we thought or we hoped. He's just not there yet. What else we got up here? My opinion says it is going to be brutal this season. Well, my opinion, I don't know that necessarily your opinion is shared by a lot of us, but I appreciate you, sharing your opinion. Again, how could the Raiders be even worse than last season? I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I think that's your opinion, but definitely no. Dominic 5, no reason Becton or Jenkins shouldn't be on this team. Well, when Becton gets 2 years, $20 million, look, I wanted Becton. I didn't want Becton for the price. That's why I said Jedrick Wills. I don't know if you saw my last video on Jedrick Wills. I like Becton very much, but not at the money he was commanding. Because guess what? Again, PF grading and stats and all that, it's not the end all be all, but he graded out pretty much like a Dylan Parham. So Is it because did it look so impressive for Mekhi Becton because he was such a bust at tackle that just being a serviceable guard is a huge jump forward? Possibly, because he is a starting level guard now in the league. But we had that in Dylan Parham. So why would you pay the money that the Chargers paid him if you're the Raiders? No, you can get better than that. And if we're going to pay that kind of money, we want someone to be better than what we already have on this team. Does that make sense? I don't want to get another Dylan Parham and pay him 3 times as much as I'm paying the actual Dylan Parham. Doesn't make sense to me, at least. Not only mine. Sure, there's a lot of wrong people in the world, dude. There's a lot of wrong people out there. I get it. And that's just your opinion. And you guys can have that opinion all day long. And if you're right, pat yourself on the back and give yourself a big trophy or medal. Great. But if you're wrong, I want that same energy. Because a lot of people out there want to tell me when they're right, but when they're wrong, it's crickets. Raider D87, bro, let's be honest. We're not going to be good this year, BS. Signings, no move, the needle moves, especially on the O-line. It's crazy. We got plenty of money for what? Well, we had to sign the guy. Look, this money, this money that we had, it was for a reason. We had all this money for a reason. We had a ton of free agents. We kept a very big part of our team, and I'm gonna release in the next couple days. I'm gonna release a Malcolm Kuntz video about how big of a catalyst Malcolm Kuntz is to this defense. But when you take a look at this, we had to sign a lot of our players that we wanted to keep moving forward. I think in the secondary, there needed to be upheaval. There had to be. As good as we thought that a Merrick was or a Hobbs was or any of these guys in the secondary, as good as we thought these guys were, the Raiders had the lowest coverage grade score in the NFL. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to bring back a bunch of guys for big money, mind you, that were a part of that team, that were a part of that squad that was rated so poorly. Something needed to change. Okay. So we replaced those players with new players. We extended Maxx Crosby. And that, dude, if we didn't extend Maxx Crosby when we did, if we waited, we would have had to pay Maxx Crosby $40 million and 1 cent. You guys understand that, right? You guys understand that we dodged a bullet by extending Maxx Crosby when we did. Because if Myles Garrett got his deal before Maxx Crosby got his, we would have been screwed big time. Because we would have had to give him that Myles Garrett contract. So I don't know why we're complaining about, because people have been complaining about, well, why did we do him? We didn't have to give him this money until next season, this and that. Well, you do it early for this reason. If you know you want to keep him, do it as early as possible. Because you know the price is just going to keep going up and up and up. Now, you didn't know the price was going to go up $10 million 4 days later, but hey, it's a good thing that we did, right? I think so. Did we upgrade in the position, especially the O-line, as we needed so badly over the years? Well, I think in the secondary, we upgraded. I wasn't a very big fan of Hobbs, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't a very big fan of Divine Diablo. I thought Merrick came on strong this last season, but I think Jeremy Chin is just as good, every bit as good as Javon Merrick. I think Atlanta Roberts is going to be every bit as good, if not better, than Robert Spillane. The other linebacker spot, we'll see. As far as the offensive line goes, yeah, we had Cody White. We were running around here with Cody Whitehair playing snaps. If it's Kappa is better than Whitehair, okay? JPJ is better than Andre James. Even if it's Kappa, JPJ, Dylan Parham, that's still better than Whitehair, James, and Dylan Parham. Makes sense, right? I think so. All right, guys, thank you very much. That's my time. I appreciate you guys today. Look, we made massive leaps the last few days. The subscriptions have been going through the roof. It's all because of you guys. You guys are getting the word out. You guys are liking, commenting, and subscribing. What that does is it helps keep Raiders versus the World at the top of the list for YouTube. I'm letting you guys a little bit behind the curtains here. So it really does help. You guys watching the videos and commenting and liking and subscribing to the videos, it really does help. What does that do? The ability for me to get more resources into this channel is going to allow me to do better things for you guys. It's going to allow me to do giveaways. It's going to allow me to do live shows, on location live shows. It's going to allow me to give you guys things that you're going to want for memberships. So let's keep going, guys. I really appreciate it. We were about, as of right now, we're about 1,500 subscribers. For having started this maybe 2 months ago, I think that's pretty damn good. So it's all because of you guys. I greatly appreciate it, man. Make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this and other videos in this channel. It really helps me out a lot. I would greatly appreciate it. It's the absolute bare minimum you can do to help this channel besides sitting there and just watching and doing absolutely nothing. Either way, I appreciate you guys. All right, guys, be ready and in tune for a couple of videos coming out this week about some other free agent signings and extensions. But until then, everybody, peace. I will see you on the flip side, ladies and gentlemen. Bang.